Imagine a vibrant discussion between people that includes both openness and critical thought in the pursuit of truth. The Purchasing Truth podcast is an experience, a journey, an exploration of the impact that negative messages in politics and the media have on our families, community, society, and nation. Join your hosts, Bill Stierle and Tom Hazard, to discover new concepts and language strategies that will reveal effective ways of establishing truth. This podcast series will tackle current events, leadership challenges, healthcare confusion, integrity in business, and many other areas that affect us all. Gain clarity and understanding of the various truth perspectives. Welcome to Purchasing Truth.
Welcome back to Purchasing Truth. I'm Tom Hazard, along with your host, Bill Stierle. And today we're going to talk about really brand impressions and, how they stick in the brain. And there are so many great examples of this. And I'm really excited to talk with you about this today, Bill.
Yeah, likewise. I think the way that a brand imprints on our brain, whether it's a business or a political candidate or a political party, or you want to get your message out about, how can you sell whatever product that you're trying to get to the marketplace to help others, getting our brand or our image or our product established inside our client or customer's mind is really essential. So, and companies spend a lot of money on this kind of stuff to make sure it sticks.
Do they ever? I mean, and
they do.
Certainly there's lots of brands we all know, and we know their logos instantly. We hear their names. That has an impression in our brain as to what that brand product is or what they stand for. And yeah, like you said, companies spend billions of dollars every year to establish those brand impressions, don't they?
So the way it works is that there's this brand memory or knowledge that we have about this brand. And then what happens is when we go to make a decision, we might not buy the brand for us, but we'll buy the brand for others. So for example, if you and I are hosting or doing a party, and you and I might not go to the store to buy Coca-Cola or Pepsi or any other soda brand or Sprite. But if we have the thought that somebody at the party might ask for it, it's coming off the shelf. And that's what brand memory knowledge does. And then what brand loyalty is that I am going to buy it because it's an accepted piece in our society. Think about how much a brand spends to be a item that's purchased at 4th of July. The hot dog brand, the bun, all the predictable sodas. That's when you and I can go to 100 or 1,000 different parties, and all the food and all the drinks will be the same.
You're right. It's probably Ballpark Franks or something like that.
Right.
And you're right, Bill. I remember even the last time we had you and your family over to our house, I was like, I got to get Sprite because I know that Bill's son likes Sprite. And we don't drink soda at all.
Nope.
We never have soda in the house, right?
That's right. Yep. So, that's the way that was.
And am I looking to go buy the cheaper off-brand one? No. I'm going to get the one. Right. So
it's an easy yes. It's easy yes. The person will feel relieved or delighted. We want our guests to, and then the same thing happens with liquor around the holiday, around alcohol around the holiday. Do you have the kind that that your guests are going to want to enjoy? Well, you're going to buy that. That's why all the alcohol commercials are about ready to hit us before Christmas season. We're going to see alcohol. We're going to see jewelry we're going to see all of those items to make a difference. So really, really important and really, really valuable to recognize the importance of, every kiss begins with K. If you find a brand line that sticks, and if it sticks in a person's brain, well, geez, then you've really been able to keep that thing that made you feel good in front of you. So the it's the Make America Great party.
Oh my gosh, I'll tell you that this very thing we're talking about is why the Trump defeated all the other Republicans that he was running against in the primaries in 2015 and 2016. And it's largely, well, there are a combination of reasons, but it's also largely why he won the presidency. This Make America Great Again slogan really became a brand. And it was, whether you liked it or hated it, everybody knew it. Everybody who sees a red hat with any writing on it, even if it's too far away and you can't read the words, everybody thinks it says Make America Great Again.
Right. And that's when, is this element a brand damage? Is there a brand damage piece? Now, here's the weird part about it. Even if we look at Coca-Cola, and even if we look at it as something that, hey, Coca-Cola will dissolve the rust off of nuts and bolts. If you want to, clean the grease off of nuts and bolts, that's a pretty good thing. We can clean the grease off of nuts and bolts by using Coca-Cola, and you see a picture of that. It still doesn't mean that you're not going to buy Coca-Cola and drink it. And that's the way. Even though the acidic quality or the damage to your body or the amount of sugar in it, your brain overrides it, even though it's not healthy for your body. Same with a cigarette. I want to be known as a cool person. I'm going to smoke a cigarette, and I'm doing this with cigarettes. Well, it's not until there was significant amount of brand damage towards, hey, you want to do cancer and cigarettes are hooked together. They had to really go after cigarettes and really recognize, not only does it can cause cancer, but they also made it addictive. They put stuff in it so that, it makes the brain come back to it.
But even though that's all very true, the brands associated with cigarettes, I mean, the biggest one that I remember is either Marlboro or maybe Camel or something.
Right.
And Camel had all these great ad campaigns at one point and created a character that was very likable character. The Marlboro Man was this like cool cowboy. And, I even remember a movie with, this goes way back, but called Breaking Away, that Dennis Quaid played a role in that. I remember him driving in that role by a billboard that has the Marlboro Man on it, on his horse and riding. And he is smoking a cigarette as he's driving, and he sees the Marlboro Man and he like salutes him as he's driving by. So talk about a brand impression. Right.
Just to hear that it's coming out of your brain right now is all of those things are in alignment with and into that literal myth of the American cowboy. I mean, it's the myth of what the cowboy was. So, where the truth is, the West was settled more by women that were prostitutes than cowboys were. That's really more what the truth is. And I bet you didn't even know that factoid.
I didn't know that one. I really didn't.
No, it's not. In fact, I got to remember which state it is, but in fact that the first state that let women vote was the state that had the most brothels in it because the women had the most political power in it. And they say, we're voting. Forget about you guys. You guys are, you'll be lucky. They go, don't cross the women. I think it was Montana, but I'm not really sure. So, but it's really fascinating how a brand will stick. The Marlboro Man conquered the test. How about this brand? The Pony Express. The Pony Express, we deliver. Here's the image of the cowboy and the letter and the delivery. And the company was only around for like a year and a half or some short amount of time. That company only existed for this in the microsecond, but the brand, it's like, oh, the Pony Express was the fastest thing ever. It's a way to get things. It's and to own or to establish a brand is to put that image and literally make sure it sticks to the brain, just the same way as you brand a cattle with a hot iron is the same thing that happens to the brain. It lands on there. So if there is a thought by a Democrat that you are going to change somebody off the brand just because you had a liar, a cheater, a philanthropist, philanderer, a
misogynist, maybe.
It's not, the brand has not been damaged. It's just been chipped away and recrafted to be okay with those sets of values. It's okay to call and try to damage the other brand with socialism and communism, and they want to give everything away and stuff. And really what people don't really understand is there's still a core need that is not being addressed with both parties. And the core need is fairness. We're not in a fair and equitable society. And how could we be? Because both sides are yelling at others about not being fair. You're not fair because you're giving things away. You're not fair because you're taking money away from rich people. You're not fair because they're still not building an equitable society or things, because I hate to say this, but cooperation and collaboration are not as sexy as winner or loser. That dynamic of a winner or loser is something that our brain appeals to more than collaboration and cooperation, because we don't have to.
This is why the Republicans are succeeding at, even as sort of fractured as they are, even though a lot of them will privately say they don't want Trump. I mean, look at right. the senator the old senator is running for re-election, who had spoken up against Trump, and now he accepted Trump's endorsement, and he spoke from stage. Remember when he said, I would be a fool not to accept the endorsement of Chuck Grassley. Thank you.
Chuck Grassley, because he goes, I'd be a fool not to accept this, because these are people that are in my party, and I'll take the endorsement from the president, and the idea of ethics, integrity, or that person's brand is going to affect that. He looks at the polling number and goes like, I'm taking the polling number. I'm going to, stay in this place. I'm not losing my position, for this. I'm not opening up. I'm
not going to lose it for any principle. I'm
not going to lose it over a principle.
I'm going to make sure what he's doing is leaning the direction the wind of his party is blowing.
Right. Yeah.
And leaving the things that he's said in the past, the things that he stood for behind. and he's standing for whatever that guy says or whatever that guy's followers say or want. And that to me is so disheartening, that integrity is not mattering for anything. But it shows you, again, not to get off on that issue too much, the brand is just that strong.
The brand is that strong. That's right.
And the Democrats are really bad at this. They're really bad at branding or rebranding themselves, and they don't get it, and they're not getting enough support to try to do the same thing, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah. It's, it's how do you take a message like, a stronger together and make that a message that is include, and you're trying to create an inclusive message as a national candidate. That's Hillary's slogan, stronger together, right? So stronger together versus make America great again. One's a high school, a college, adult mindset. And the other one is kind of like a 12th grader, make America great again. It's like, yeah, I want to make it great the way it was in the 1950s. Well, if you wanted to make it great like the 1950s, and what happened in the 1950s was the rebuilding of the middle class and the extensive pressure to build infrastructure throughout the United States. Why? Eisenhower goes, I can't get across the United States without freeways. I'm putting freeways in.
Yeah, but nobody thinks about what's behind it, though. It's really just the simpler message. It's almost it's like a power. Sticks. It's a bit of a power over message, or a victor message, a winning message, right?
That's right, a winning message. I've got to get my brand and my slogan and my identity to stick inside the view of the voter, going like this. Now, when Obama went through, he had a wonderful artist that just put one word underneath his name, which was hope.
Yeah.
And people go like, yeah, I can buy hope. I'll and then of course, when he gets in, it's hard to get hope when you got another group going like, oh yeah, we're gonna kind of pee all over your hope thing right there, and we're gonna fight you on everything and try to stall you out. And they did. They stalled the medical stuff out for like a year in talks that they didn't move at all. And then the Democrats go like, hey, wait a minute. They're just stalling. Oh, we just got to pass it.
Right.
Whereas if they came in 6 months and they passed it and then moved on and passed another thing and then moved on and then passed another thing, they went into it like, we're going to do a collaborative piece, and the appearance and they're doing the same thing again, because it's weird to say this, but this is when having an older president who has a history of the way it was, the way government worked, is people were jumping across the aisle all the time. They were, the way votes were going is you jumped off over the things, but the money doesn't allow that to take place anymore. You can't jump across the aisle because the money won't be there on your side. They'll be look for another candidate who won't jump across the aisle and vote for the other thing. Yep. It's amazing how the brand imprint shows up, and all it needs to do is have something that's catchy enough to stick on the person's brain. And that's the thing to really, to kind of take home from this discussion, is that there's certain parts of the brain that just light up. And then all of a sudden that brand is imprinted. And then what winds up happening is the company that has the brand can recraft or create a new slogan that sticks. So, for example, McDonald's was millions sold, millions sold, millions sold of burgers. Well, I want to go to the place that has millions sold. Then now it's loving it. That's the new ba 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 ba. I've got the jingle in my head. Why? Because I've heard it 40 million times.
Yeah.
So it's carved a place in my brain that I can even hum the notes. And all I got to do is hear a couple of the notes in order, and I will finish the jingle.
And the thing is, the branding makes you feel like something is what they want you to feel it is, even if it's not what they say it is. And that's the sort of the brilliance of marketing and branding. And it's unfortunate that really the American voter is taken in by the branding, especially, like, for instance, that, the former president has branded the 2020 election as completely fraudulent, stop the steal, saying it was stolen. And
Right.
He's branded that, and half the country believes it.
And it's very, very disheartening, because it's when you go after something from a binary true false place, the damage that's being done to the brand it becomes significant. Trump did the same thing with the USFL. He did the same thing. He goes, oh, those other team owners, blah blah blah, and all he did was have a way to spend money and make money and take money from investors and people that were in on it, going like, yeah, I want to follow this guy. This guy seems like he knows what he's doing. And that's what a good/great branding mindset does, is build loyalty. See, there's no mistake that the word loyalty is one of Trump's main words. Are you a loyal person? And then once the word rhino shows up, Republicans in name only, he has branded a certain group of his party that now are disenfranchised, except for the go along with. They have to go along with the dreck, and it's like,
well, yeah, once they're no longer loyal, they're a rhino.
They're
to him, they're dead to him, really.
Right.
Once they're no longer loyal to him,
they're dead to him. So it's the and he can keep saying things that aren't true, and we call it getting away with it, but it's not getting away with it. He just says things to reinforce the brand that he knows what he's talking about, which he doesn't, but he's confident that he knows what he's talking about.
But he can sell it, is what it is. He can sell it.
He's selling it as, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm the greatest thing that ever happened to the Republican Party. I did more in the administration than most presidents have ever done, ever. And the facts are not important at all. Like not at all.
And that's the thing, is the Democrats are arguing the facts. The Republicans, like Liz Cheney, that aren't buying into what Trump is selling, are arguing the facts. And that's a very hard argument. Even the two impeachment trials argued the facts. And did he get impeached? He got impeached, but he didn't get convicted. Very, very disheartening. But again, the power of the brand. Bill, I think we should mention one other brand issue, which is just so big these days, which is Facebook. That
the brand there
has had this brand that's been established since about 2004 or 5, and they are experiencing a lot of brand damage in the media because
Yes.
of some things their platform does that are
Right.
not good.
Right.
And so they decide to rebrand the company, not the app, but the company,
Right.
Meta, which, you know, you may think that's an odd name, and I don't really want to debate the merits of that name, but they picked this name and they announced it to the world. They created a logo, announced it to the world.
They did.
And then they got some egg on their face because there's a company in Arizona that
Yes.
filed a trademark application for Meta in the same category of business. And for those of you that don't understand trademark law, I can have the name with a name in one, I can have the brand name in one category of goods or service, and you can have it in another. But this company is in computers and software and the like, and they filed it in that category and started using it in November 2020. And
Right.
now Facebook either looks very bad because they didn't do their homework. I mean, they wouldn't have rolled this out.
Yeah, it's a little surprising.
It's
Yeah, right.
really surprising.
It's a very surprising they didn't buy the name first.
It is.
You know, go find out who has the trademark first before they did it. And it's kind of weird, but it's the brand is actually going to get a lift because of the conflict. See, it's kind of a weird way that the brain works. It's like there's more discussion about the conflict now, and now the beneficiary is going to be the company that owns the brand. And now they're using it as they can, if they're smart enough to use it as a marketing piece. Yes, it's going to cost them 20 million, but what happens is the news media is going to easily pay for the 20 million in broadcasting the conflict.
It's interesting. What probably was a blunder that Facebook messed up on could actually prove to be a marketing boon because everybody's talking about Meta.
That's right. It's like, who was given a crap about it a week ago, other than now the news media is going to pick it up and literally spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars of ad time covering the story about the mistake. See, Trump is correct on this. It's like, keep poking the bear with bad information and the bear will keep swatting at you. And that's the thing that media doesn't get, is that what would it be like if the media, but see, this is where it gets tricky, because the media has a split schism sitting it with Fox and all those other channels now, that if the other media doesn't cover it and giving any oxygen, then the rest of the public doesn't see it's going on. What they really need to do is treat it like it's his announcements are like no big deal, instead of that treating it like how awful it is. All of the cable news people make this mistake. Look how awful it is. It's like, oh, here he goes again. Look at the clown. It's like they've got to treat it for what it is. Oh, this is another branding opportunity. Oh, this is another moment for where he can create conflict. Oh, this is where, it goes. So one of the things that we can talk about is, this is the perspective of two different truths. We can talk about that next time, of how to take advantage of what the brain does with branding, and then apply it to business or politics and say, okay, how can we get our message to stick, even if it's a negative message, even if it's a fall down?
Well, that'd be very helpful, because I think everybody wants to get their message to stick, don't they?
Yeah, that's correct. And that's one of the things that both you and I do, and are trying to get the message out to others, is we work with people in order to get that message to stick inside a person's brain, which is really an important thing to do.
I
got to get people to come to do what you're doing. So All right. More to
couldn't
come,
agree
Tom.
more. Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Bill.
Thanks a lot, Tom.
Thank you for listening to this Purchasing Truth podcast. We trust that you have enjoyed this engaging and thought-provoking conversation. Our hope is that you've received value, found clarity, and broadened your truth perspective in this episode. If you did, leave us a review or visit our website, purchasingtruth.com. Join us again for another informative and content-rich discussion here at the Purchasing Truth podcast. Don't just accept whatever information comes your way. Join the discussion. Discover your own voice. Purchase your own truth.